A pleasant Saturday morning to you all here in Houston. Let me welcome you to the show. Good morning, Houston. My name is Patrick Omosage, and this morning, last week I ran the ship alone. I was solo on this program, but this morning I have back with me in the studios, live in concert, is Nishola.
Oh my goodness.
Arashi, so she's back here and working with me.
That's very hard for me to keep up with. I don't even know how to back that up.
You're live
here.
Live
in concert?
Yes, live in concert, so you had better start dancing because, or singing.
Oh.
So,
all right, good morning, Houston. Good morning, Houstonians. How are you all doing this day? It's been a very beautiful week. When we're talking about the weather, it has been really very warm for the most part, and I'm sure that has eaten very deep into how each day during the course of the week has had panned out for you. My name is Oluwani Shola. Good morning once again. This is Dawn on MBC 43.2. We are gracing your screens, and we will be doing the very best that we can to help you with all of the issues and stories and funny business that has happened during the course of the week. And phone lines will be open during the course of the show. And Prof. Analyst will be doing all that he can to give us his take on each of the stories that we will be sharing with you this Saturday morning. So, I'm thinking we should get right into the mix of things.
Yes, we should.
Yes, and starting off from the home front, where our President Muhammadu Buhari, I think yesterday or Thursday, traveled out to Egypt for the African Business Summit. We have, before this happened, so much especially about the economic situation of the country, the naira falling, power. Everyone has been shouting, especially about his very many trips. There was a hashtag, if I can remember very well, on Twitter during the week as well. I can't remember what it was really, but I know it was really quite a funny one and a huge one about his very many travels. What is he looking for? Why is he traveling so much?
Well, look, we have to speculate. I mean, Personally, I think that most of the travel has to be
his health,
partly, medical. But if he's still finding other things to do while he's abroad, that's fine. But he's really traveled an awful lot. I think since he got into power, it's over 20 travels in about 8 months. But
I kind of remember that when the ex-president Obasanjo was also there. I think he did a lot of this in his very first year.
Well, no,
am I wrong?
Look, I think it's okay for a president to travel.
Out a lot.
I mean, if you're looking for help, I mean, like what we think.
You need to go out.
Yeah, you need to go get help and all that. But the last travel to London, where he had to transfer power, and they said it's a 5-day vacation.
That was a little shady.
I don't know. There was nothing. I just know that I believe that was a medical trip. Because 5 days vacation. There are times I take 5 days vacation,
and you don't tell anybody.
I don't even tell my wife. Not one talk of you telling the vice president.
And you don't tell anybody. All right. So that's that for that. Touching up more on that story, his spokesperson actually talked on this and opened up really about what this summit is going to be about. There are very many presidents. Yes, the president of Egypt, of Togo, of Sudan, of Kenya, very many presidents gracing this occasion. There's also the news about the Oni of Ife. The monarch has been appointed as the vice chancellor
the chancellor.
The chancellor of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. And I didn't even know that could happen.
Well, no, yes. I mean, they actually kind of threw it around. Southerners, chancellors of northern or eastern universities and all that. So they do that. They do that an awful lot. They throw that around like that. But let me just quickly go back to the business summit in Egypt and all that. Wole Soyinka during the week, Professor Wole Soyinka, the Nobel laureate,
really did talk about that. Yes,
he did ask for Buhari to please,
like an emergency economic summit.
We need something like that. I don't know what a summit would really do
for the state of the polity right now.
Yeah, but here is Wole Soyinka asking for
that.
So, but I think we have a few very serious issues to deal with. because I don't know how much the dollar is this morning, but it went as high as almost 380 or something sometime this week.
Sometime,
yeah.
So that's for that. We still have you should talk about he hosted some members of the diplomatic corps in the State House also during the course of the week. I don't know if you have pictures of that, but if not, we just wanted you to know, yes, those are pictures of that, and yes, so many issues we talked about, and he expressed himself, talked about what he's doing, answered questions as always, and that went by.
Yeah, this is a normal yearly event or something, and here's where the diplomatic corps will also choose their kind of leader, who represents their thoughts or what things they want to deal with Nigeria. So it's a yearly event, it's a ceremonial thing, but it's always good when you have the diplomatic corps kind of come on your side. Hopefully they would help us with some of the things we need help with.
Okay. Now, one of this very story really was huge, is still huge as well, because this teen, I'm sure you're familiar with this story. Just in case you aren't, we're sharing this with you. So Malachi Love Robinson had all the trappings of a medical practice. He had an office, a lab coat, a stethoscope. He has a website. Everything. And a very few 18-year-olds actually do. I don't even think there's an 18-year-old PhD, because he says he has a PhD in some field that he's not willing to share with anybody. But this really was huge on international news, local and foreign. It's he's in Florida. He's a Florida teen. He's been charged with practicing medicine without a license and theft after he allegedly performed medicine with performing exams actually on someone. Very many people actually. Cleared some checks, did all this and that, and he's coming out on he's been granting interviews.
Yeah, I watched this.
You did?
Interview. I said this kid shouldn't be taken to jail. They should go and cool him off somewhere like Aru, because this is not do you remember? This is not common eye. 18-year-olds, this is a doctor and starts to treat people, and he's arrested, and then still saying that.
What about the adults who see someone like that? And still decide to go to him for treatment?
Well, at times it's difficult to look, except he tells you he's 18. You would probably,
it's difficult to discern.
You could say he looks 22, 23. You want to believe. When you see him as running the medical practice, you want to say, what a young doctor. He could be 24, 25.
And he's really very brainy for him to have achieved this.
I don't even think he has a high school diploma,
I don't think so either. But he's very, I feel he's very brave for him to be on, to grant every interview, and to still come out to say, no, I don't deserve this. I'm in my rightful place.
I'll be proven
that's
innocent.
Really very brave. Very, very, very. We should see the expression of Rock's face.
I think one of the things that they really need to find out is where did he get all the money to set this up?
And he has staff.
Yeah,
he's not doing this alone.
Yeah, where did he get money to set all this up? It's not easy. I mean, I have friends of mine that just set up an emergency, and I know how much they had to find to do that. But good luck to him.
Good luck to him. Moving over from that, still going back to Nigeria, where during the week as well, EFCC rearranged Chief Raymond Dokwasi of the television station AIT over the alleged 2.1 billion naira fraud. The EFCC rearranged him before Justice John Soho of the Federal High Court, Abuja, over a 6-count charge of criminal breach of public procurement law to the tune of 2.1 billion naira. And the same charges were filed against him in December. And during the hearing, of course, Dokwasi pleaded not guilty to all charges.
No, that's standard. It's almost, I don't know why they ask them,
Are you guilty or not guilty?
Yeah. I mean, go in front of the judge and then I'm guilty.
I'm guilty.
No, it's not guilty, and we leave the rest to the lawyers.
To the law to figure out.
All
right. Also, still on some squandering and money disappearing, Dezani Alison Madueke's husband was also arrested, I think on Wednesday, by also the EFCC. Okay, so the husband of the former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Dezani Alison Madueke, was arrested by the EFCC over allegations of laundering more than $600,000 through his personal accounts. He was quizzed for many hours during the week. He was released on administrative bail and is expected to return to the anti-graft agency's headquarters. I think he already did that actually on Thursday. We're still waiting for that to unfold and see where that takes us and see what stories it is that we can get you next Saturday. So that's for that. Prof, you're not saying anything about that. You expected that to happen?
Well, look, at some time, all the people we feel that have been part of what we might call the cabal of, how we use money in Nigeria would sometime come to account for it. But again, they're still quizzing him. They're still going to have to file charges. I mean, $600,000
is a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean,
through his personal account is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but we're still trying to account for $2.1 billion. Now, that's the one that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. $2.1 billion is a lot of money. And that's, so...
All right, so we will go for a brief break, and when we come back, we have more to share with you. There's still the story of a Nigerian man who killed his wife and killed himself in Baltimore. We have some news for Nigerians here in Houston. The Nigerian High Commission is here already to help you with your passports issuance and stuff. We have so much more to share with you on Dawn this morning. Stick around. morning on Dawn on MBC. My name is Oluwanishala, and we've been sharing with you trending stories that have made the rounds during the course of the week. Prof is still here; he's not left. Thank God for that. And we're still we will be touching up on the story about this Nigerian man in Baltimore, USA, who killed himself and his Nigerian girlfriend in the US here. 49-year-old Nigerian man, Muhammad Igomigo, a security guard, shot his Nigerian girlfriend, 44-year-old Nina Ogbonna, a licensed nurse, and then killed himself during an argument at their home in Middle River, Baltimore, USA. This happened on Tuesday. And according to police report, Igomigo and Nina had 2 children together, but no longer lived together. Igomigo lived in a 300 block of Shagbak Road, while Nina lived in the 700 block of Northrop Lane, where the shooting happened. And detectives found that he had visited her home on the day of the incident, and the two had argued over finances. I knew something was wrong somewhere.
Yeah, the way.
And I've observed that in this, should I say town or city or in this country, finances, there are huge parts.
Look, in most relationships, business relationships, husband and wife relationships, boyfriend girlfriend relationships, money.
But it's bigger here than it is back home, you know.
You might think so. I think most people that would tell you that, you know, my problem with an issue in my house is always got to be money. Money is what keeps everybody moving. And look, in their own case, you know, they were already separated, but I think one person claimed the other person on tax returns, and the other person went to report to the IRS, and, you know, the IRS said refund the money, and, you know, I guess the guy had spent the money, and
he refused to do that.
Yeah, you know. So look, I mean, look, when you kill someone and kill yourself, it's also a mental issue. You know, there's nobody that can, you know, tell me otherwise. It's a mental issue. You know, when you decide. I mean, you have kids together, and you just turn them into orphans like that without thinking about
the consequences on how that will pan out.
So that's a really serious mental issue.
All right. Going to another mental issue before we go to the news that's really going to be of good use to Houstonians. There's also this Nigerian mental health nurse who was involved, still is involved, I don't know, involved in sex slavery ring. She's been blacklisted by the UK Nursing and Midwifery Council. Did you hear about that, Prof? There's this Nigerian mental health nurse, that's her on the screens, who was convicted and sentenced for smuggling a young Nigerian woman into Britain to work as a sex slave under the threats of black magic curse. I'm familiar with that. She's been blacklisted by the British nursing authorities. Her name is Florence Obadiaro. She's 50, and she was a part of a gang of traffickers that raped a 23-year-old and subjected her to a juju death ritual during which she was told that if she did not pay £40,000, she would die.
Yeah, I mean, look, when people still believe in some kind of threat by juju, look, first of all, the person that believes in juju, you must also believe that they say when you carry juju across the water, the juju becomes worthless. So, I mean, how he or she is still afraid of some debt and going to sell yourself in order for you to repay £40,000. I mean, it's ridiculous. But again, all these local beliefs tend to, you know, it's unfortunate that people still sit around and dabble in stupidity because it's stupid. You know, now, if for Badaro or the nurse was, you know, it's a business for her, of course it's a bad business. But like I always say, look, a 23-year-old, if someone sends you out to go sell yourself, you can just then walk into a police
and say, I don't want to do this. This is what's happening to me.
Yeah, what's the fear? What's the fear? You know, but again, I'm not blaming the victim here, but you know, at times I think people should wake up and have a little bit more guts to do the right thing for themselves.
All right. That being said, it was a party in. I'm going. We're going back to Nigeria. It was a party in the PDP house. They had a new PDP chairman sworn in, Ali Modu Sharif, and he vowed and said all sorts and pledged and asserted that he was going to get the seat back from the APC in the next elections. And yeah, some people have said, some Nigerians said, yeah, let's see how that works out. Some have said no. FFK actually did say that he's not really in support of him being the new chairman, because he knows, FFK says he knows that, okay, if you don't know who that is, Femi Fani-Kayode says he knows that this man is one of the, should I say leaders or pioneers of the Boko Haram sect, that he really, he really doesn't trust him. He's not happy about it, and all whatnot that happened. They had a Thanksgiving service in Umuahia, Abia State, actually on the 17th of February, and he said all sorts, and then that happened. It was just back and forth.
Yeah, look, what do I expect the new PDP chairman to say? Oh, that we're going to lose in 2019. He said all the right things.
All the right things.
But like we know, even from what we see here that obtains here in America, you just need the right presidential candidate.
Yeah.
And obviously as Nigeria is moving forward, we're gradually becoming a two-party country, which is fine, because all you now say is either this guy
yes, or that
this guy. So it makes it a lot easier
to choose.
To choose. I mean, and so they can say all what they say. On the long run, it's who you're going to present either to contest against Buhari in 2019 or against anybody from the APC. Now, so it's a better system that is grooming, which I personally like. But he has said all the right things. He's going to say, oh, we're going to get the presidency back in 2019. We're going to revamp the years. We're going to get our party members all juiced up for the election.
Everything's going to be...
Everything is hunky-dory, smooth enough.
As sweet as it used to be.
But the reality on the long run is about, campaigning with a purpose and people buying
and presenting the right candidates as well.
And people buying into what you're saying.
Okay, that being said, so many birthdays also happened during the course of the week. Miss Aisha Buhari, the wife of the President of the Republic of Nigeria, also had a birthday during the week. Ben Murray Bruce, the controversial senator, also turned 60 during the week. Senator Itagiwa also turned 70. She doesn't look 70. That woman is...
Yeah, I'm not 60 yet, but Ben Bruce was my senior actually in elementary school.
Okay.
We all went to Our Ladies of Apostles in St. Agnes, Yaba. It was obviously several years ahead.
Very controversial. Very controversial.
There's nothing
always
controversial.
Has something to say on Twitter.
Yeah, I know. Controversial shouldn't the word. He's out there. He's out there talking. And anytime you're out there, people are going to like you or like what you say or dislike what you say. But controversial shouldn't be the word,
Oh, okay.
He's talking more than a usual Nigerian senator. But he's talking directly to the people, through, obviously, social media.
That's what Prof thinks. I think otherwise. Anyway.
Yeah, like I said, you're going to be controversial once you start to say things,
Please feel free to join us on Twitter at MBC TV Houston, and our phone lines will be on your screen if you'd like to chip in a thing or two, give your 2 cents on whatever topic it is that we have shared, or whatever news it is that we have shared with you this morning. Feel free to join in on the conversation. Once again, at 713-340-7514, the numbers to call. Please tweet at MBC TV Houston. We would like to read your tweets and get your feedback on all the stories that we've shared thus far. Prof's handle is at PJ Osage. Mine is at Nishala01. Please do tweet at us. Yes, we will be going for another music break. I think it is apt for us to do something from Whiskey, because he just got on the cover. He just got on Vogue magazine to be one of the stylish Nigerians. I think in 2015, 2016. That is huge. Yes, it is indeed huge. So we might want to play. Do you know who that is, Prof?
No, when I hear his music, I'll recognize him.
All right. So if we do, fine. If not, we will definitely play something from Whiskey. It's still Dawn on NBC. My name is Oluwani Shola. Please stick with us. African proverb for the day on Dawn this morning. Do not call the forest that shelters you a jungle. Did I get that right, Prof?
Yeah, something like that.
So, something like that. That's just the definition. So we want you to think about that. We'll show that like about 2 or 3 more times so that you can read and digest very carefully, and then I'm sure you'll understand it.
Yeah, I think one of the things we should actually add, a lot of these African proverbs, even if we get it or the sources maybe from another culture or the Nigerian culture, we might try to actually get it in the African language.
Yeah, so that we can, so that people can understand more.
Yeah, there's some of these things.
English can be hard sometimes.
Yeah, and that we can actually translate into Yoruba or Edo or Igbo or something like that. It will have a lot more effect,
All right, and then before then, you listened to something. We showed you, something from Tiwa Savage and Olamide. That was branded Standing Ovation, and that brings me to this story of this Vietnamese prisoner who escaped death row by impregnating herself with a fellow inmate's sperm. I found that I think she deserves a standing ovation. That was really very clever and canny. Prof, you're still thinking about it? Should I give you like 5 minutes to do that?
No,
okay, while I just read.
No, like you said, it's really look. It'd be so inhumane, for them to
now do that. Why
to kill her when she's pregnant. Or when she's going to have a child. So I mean, hey, good for her.
Very good, very good. She's 42. I'm going to touch upon that. 42, and she was paid a 27-year-old convict. She paid a 27-year-old convict a 50 million Vietnamese dong for his sperm, which she used to impregnate herself with. She was arrested in the coastal province of Quang Hin in 2012 on charges of drug trafficking, and a local newspaper, Than Nien News Reports, said she was sentenced to death 2 years later.
Yeah, what, let me just come in here. What I don't understand is that, so why do people pay so much money for artificial insemination when someone could do it in a jail room?
You don't understand it.
A lot of people pay so much.
Yeah, so much.
And, it fails. And here is this,
and they do it twice. Yeah, I think twice.
And here is this prisoner.
Which has decided, like, you know what?
And I'm sure it was bottled in some kind of filthy state.
Please don't take us through the details.
Yeah, and she was able to get this done, But again, we have to really check this. I mean, maybe this was really done in the proper way, and it was just not that. But let's move on. Some of these stories from faraway places needs to be cross-checked.
I tell you. All right. So we have news for Houstonians. Prof, take it away.
No, it's just the High Commission of the Nigerian Embassy. The Atlanta office is actually here in town.
Yeah.
And doing what we call passport intervention, Those who need a visa, those who need to change their passport, renew their passport, those who need to get new passports, those who have lost their passports.
I want to get another.
Yeah, so for the next 4 days, at least next 3 days, it started yesterday. You have today, you have Sunday, and you have Monday. It's at Crown Plaza Hotel on 59 on the freeway there. Go there, it's 8 to 8, and go get your passport done,
So we'll reiterate that before we leave, just in case someone just left their seat and had to get something in the kitchen or something. We will reiterate that before we leave this morning. There's also this report from Nairobi. They're on guard after 6 lions eloped from the national park. 1 was caught, 5 still at large. The area around that park, what do you think the atmosphere would be like?
Stay in your house. Stay in your house. Because lions are not something that they're not like wild dogs that you can say you can run a little bit and kick. Stay in your house.
Yeah, so that's for that in Nairobi. And this sad news from the ex-president Jonathan.
Just before you go on, I remember there was a time there was a rumor that a lion in the UI Zoo had gone.
Oh, I remember that.
The whole of Ibadan, like they were saying in Yoruba, the whole of Ibadan, everybody was at home. We
For
were just,
about a week.
and that was just a rumor.
Yeah, yeah. I
Even though some
remember.
people were saying that they were going out to go and look for it, and and turn it into suya and all that. But the truth is
I
that
remember that
nobody
very well.
moved around for a couple of days.
I remember that very well. Oh, very, very nice of you, Prof. Okay, so I was talking about the ex-president, Goodluck Jonathan. There was this report during the week as well about his father. Yeah, I think his adopted father,
Yeah.
who was kidnapped, and we hear that his relative, who was abducted with his uncle, actually, has been found dead. The body of a cousin of former President Goodluck Jonathan, Samuel Oki, that's his name, who was kidnapped alongside Chief Inegite Netabai. Jonathan, the former president's foster father, has been found floating on Otoke River. He was found about 2 days ago after they were both abducted at their home in Otueke by unknown gunmen. Now, this uncle hasn't been found yet. His whereabouts is still unknown, and it is scary to find that, this is, I can't even. Very sad.
There's been kidnapping going on in Nigeria for quite some time now.
So this is not news.
It's not really news. It's unfortunate that it keeps
Very
happening and it
unfortunate.
happens to.
I think this man has been kidnapped before.
Yeah, I think this is the second time.
Yes, the second time. This is the second time.
They'll pay for him, and so he'll be free.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, is the fellow, like we say, the Sabarumo that got killed? He will be free.
Okay. Holding that thought, I think we should go for another break. When we come back, we will be taking sports update. Yes, we will be doing that. We have a video report for you as well. Still undone. We still have, we still have about 15 more minutes to finish up this morning. So we'll go for a brief break. Now, when we come back, we'll be doing sports. Please stick with us. All right, welcome back. My name is Oluwani Shala. Prof is still here. It is still dawn on MBC. We will be leaving about 11, so don't worry, we still have time. If you're just joining us, you have missed a bit, but we still have some more to share with you. World Sports Update. Manny Pacquiao, I think that this African proverb, I think it's quite... somehow, in a way, it's quite workable, because he was fired during the week as well by Nike over his anti-gay comments. He made some really very rude gay comments during the week, and we found out that he was fired by Nike as a brand ambassador over his comments. Nike issued a statement during the week, and they said that, in quotes, "We find Manny Pacquiao's comments abhorrent. Nike strongly opposes discrimination of any kind and has a long history of supporting and standing up for the rights of the LGBT community." And they said that we no longer have a relationship with Manny Pacquiao. So I guess that what he said beat him, and is that a jungle or a forest?
Look, I mean, that was more of a jungle. Now, when Nike supports you, that's big money around you.
And now he doesn't have that anymore.
All these athletes are public, people that have to make, are in the public eye, should learn what to say. Just shut up.
And go about your business.
And go about your business. Look, the world, or most so America and most of Europe, there's a new culture building. And if you don't accept it, because of religion or whatever, I know if you're in the public eye and you want to continue to be relevant,
you have to keep talking.
Box, collect your money, and move on. Don't get involved in all these political statements or religious statements. It does you no good. I mean, I know people are going to say, freedom of speech and all that. Nike has also freedom of how they move their money. They've taken their money away from him.
And now they have taken their money.
Yeah, so, I mean, good for him or good for Nike, I don't care. But, just don't get involved. Let the people that the politicians that play the game.
That's good advice. Even if you're not in the public eye, even at your workplace, when you know that you're not the boss, just don't get involved.
Yeah, don't get involved. Just stay.
Go to
stay
work,
away
do
from
your
it.
do your job, and
Yeah.
go home. All right. So that being said, Emmanuel Amunike, we understand also was appointed as the NFF's new Flying Eagles coach. Did you like that news?
Well, look, it's something we've done for some time now. You moved from the under-17. Remember, he won the under-17 World Cup, so they've supposedly moved him along to the next level, which is under-20. You know, but let's see how well we do there. We have not done well at the under-20. You know, I think we have just one silver and a whole load of failures. Because I have said, I mean, I know, and I look, and anybody can challenge me on this. I have said. That you see, there's a big difference when you play at under 17 and you're older than most of the people you play with. Just not physically, but mentally. Nigeria cheats heavily at that age group. Now, at 20, there's no more physical difference. If you're 24, 25, and you're playing a typical 19, 20-year-old from Colombia, there's no physical difference, even mental, very little. So that is why we don't perform well there. And then more so, our coaching is not good enough at a higher level. And that's why we don't succeed at that level. You succeed at under 17 because you're just so much stronger and so much more gifted mentally. And that's why we've won a bunch of under 17. Because anybody that thinks that we are the best playing football country in the world is dreaming, because we are nowhere close to being the best.
Okay, still done on MBC. Prof. Osage at PJ Osage's Twitter handle. Mine is at Nishala01. MBC TV Houston is our Twitter handle. You still have our phone numbers. If you still like to drop a line or two, please feel free to do just that. We'll go for another break. When we come back, we will be sharing our video report and then calling it a day. All right, so stick around. So far, so good. We hope that we've been able to share with you all that you have missed. We hope that we've been able to furnish you with all the information. We have just one more to go, and then we'll take our video report and then call it a day. Anita Oyakilome, Prof, that name sounds like someone from your family.
No.
Has formally detached herself from Pastor Chris Oyakilome, and she finally pulled out of Christ Embassy Church back at home in Nigeria. The wife of Chris Oyakilome, Anita Odegwa Oyakilome, has finally completed divorce proceedings with the General Overseer of Christ Embassy. And Anita had stated that through her lawyers, in the divorce file, that I think she's just happy that everything is over. When this first surfaced, people were like, from a pastor, all the allegations and accusations and all that she had to say, because she opened up a blog and talked about everything. People found it really very, very, very confusing.
Look, I mean, she took it a little bit too far.
You think so?
Yeah, she's not the first person that, I mean, from what she says, that the husband is cheated on. And I'm not saying
it's right for him to do that,
okay? But she took it for opening a blog and, going up and down. Look, you want a divorce because of certain reasons, you get your lawyers to do that and you move on.
You don't think she was trying to allow people to know the kind of person her ex-husband
is and was? Yeah, look, the man runs a business. Runs a church.
Did you just say business?
No, the man runs a church. I mean, look, again, it's one side we're hearing. So how do we... I just think she took it too far.
But Pastor Chris hasn't even reacted as well. I don't think he ever did.
Here's what I always say. Remember, I don't think he's done any reaction from him yet. But what I always say is that they have kids. Don't destroy the kids, just because you want out of a marriage. You have kids. So you got to be very careful what you put out there.
2 kids, actually. We have 2 kids. Anyways, that being said, that's going to be all for us today on Dawn. We will be gracing your screens next Saturday by God's grace. We will be furnishing you with as much as we can. Don't forget, what's trending Houston. We want to tell you stories. We want you to share with us whatever it is that you feel that Houstonians are going to be happy to be a part of. Please feel free to like our Facebook page and send us a message on it. You can call our numbers as well. You can tweet at us. We'll be very happy to help you out with anything it is that you need. Don't forget, again, I said, what's trending Houston? We want to share trending stories and issues of what's happening here, right here in Houston. My name still is Oluwanishola. Oh, yeah, say that again. I know you like me when I say.
Yes, and my name remains Patrick Omosagi.
All right, well, wishing you a very, very beautiful Saturday, the rest of the day. Please make sure that you put a smile on someone's face and do the best that you can to be happy. So we'll be signing off with the video reports, and I'm sure you'll learn a thing or two from that. Adios.
Bye-bye.
Raw materials are being exported. Interest rate is
This is what university classrooms often look like.
lower government
Student seating,
also tools to be able to
instructor talking.
process.
But for students in this class, it is the complete opposite. Professor Boloyo uses music and dance to teach students about Africa.
So I decided to teach African music and dance because I see it as one of the very effective ways to talk about Africa. Very effective ways to let people know Africa and to get people engaged with Africa.
Boloyo has taught the class for 6 years, and since then, the class has almost doubled in size, and there is a growing wait list.
So it was a good time to sort of stay in touch with home and African culture and and tradition. So that's why I took the class.
I've always wanted to play the djembe, and so when I heard about this course, I just jumped up and I was like, wow, yes, this is for me, and I told all my friends.
Currently a commerce student, and I want to minor in Africa studies.
My favorite part about this class is the dancing, because I love the freeness of it and the energy.
Most of the students have little or no dance experience.
The African dance body has to have several centers at the same time. So the difficult thing is to get in this student to be able to use the hand this way, the right hand that way, and the left hand this way. And then the legs doing something different. In which case, the upper body, has its own center, the middle body has its own center, and the lower body has its own center at the same time.
I think the most challenging part of the class is sticking to sticking to the rhythms that you normally wouldn't stick to. So when you're doing a beat in between beats.
Moving, Kofi gets us to, move our arms in one direction and our legs in another, and then there's a really complex rhythm actually that I've never had to, dance to before.
For some others, the challenge is just being physical for 1 hour.
Not do much exercise at home, so it's really a huge challenge.
Some dances are a bit hectic. Some are really gruesome and require some physical strength and movement.
The African Music Dance Ensemble class is one of only several across Canada that offer academic credits for a purely cultural experience.
So through dance, we get to learn about the history of the people, the language of the people, the religion, the philosophy. The impression that African dance, we go there and we have fun and we get credit for that? Well, really? Yeah, we're just using the dance as a means to get into deeper and serious issues about Africa.
Besides getting credits towards graduation, his unusual approach seems to be working with students.
Yeah, it's one thing to study about a culture in books, but it's another to actually try it out.
So far, I've taken away a great appreciation and kind of understanding for African music and dance, And I think that I have now more so than ever become really interested in exploring these aspects of all cultures, not just African culture.
For others, the class has more personal benefits.
I feel more outgoing and willing to express myself in a more confident and passionate way.
For Buluyo, dance is more than just fun, but a powerful tool for education.
When we talk of African dance, it's not just people jumping around and having fun, but the dance or the dance body is used as a very effective tool and means of education and of learning and sharing of knowledge.